Let's get comfortable. All right, that's a little better. Hey nail babes, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we were kind of inspired by one of you babes, aka Merlin's mama, who left a comment on a recent video saying, why don't I try one of Amazon's nail art kits just to see, is it worth it? They're pretty inexpensive, so we're gonna talk about that. So let's just dive right in. While researching upon Amazon, there are many nail art kits you will come across. I just picked their Amazon's best choice or best seller just because it's common sense. If everybody's buying it, it obviously has to be worth it somehow, right? This kit was, I believe, like $12, but they do have pretty much majority of them in the $20 or less range, and they do have some that are more expensive. So we gotta see, is it really the best seller? Is it the best choice for you folks at home? I don't know, we're gonna find out. Anyways, what does this kit come with? It comes with a variety of quite a few things nail art wise. It comes with a set of 15 brushes, 5 dotting tools, 4 little cassette things that you use for striping tape, lots and lots of different colored striping tape, and it comes with little gems, aka stones, that you can use for whatever nail art you choose. Let's get into this idea that I had. I was like, let's just do a little manicure on myself, and I'll try to use as many tools as possible and just go from there. I decided for the striping tape I was gonna use about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different colors. I'm going with kind of like a pastel-y vibe for this manicure. Let me just say how much I hate striping tape. Like, I profusely hate striping tape. Why? Because it's a pain in the behind. It's such a pain. It peels very easily if you don't apply it properly. It's a pain. It really is. If you've dealt with striping tape, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't and you want to buy this kit, you'll find out. As for the quality of the striping tape, it's like any other striping tape you can buy on the market. So there's not much to say there. It literally is the same as any other one out there. They are just very thin. You can buy some that are thicker in width, but these ones are very thin, which is fine, no big deal. But as for applying it, you're gonna wanna make sure that your color that you have, so basically like your base before you start applying your striping tape, is actually completely free of any debris or the inhibition layer. Make sure it's completely clean. So I just wipe it with alcohol just to get rid of any stickiness, because you want it to be as flat and dry as possible, so that way the striping tape actually really adheres to the nail. So I then go ahead and just take my nippers, because they're really pointy at the tip, versus scissors. You can really get in there and get more precise cuts. I'm not going to be all the way on the edge, but I'm just going to go a hair into my actual nail plate. That way when I seal it, it will help prevent any lifting in the long run. And then of course at the end, we're going to seal it. Man, I'm sweating. Ugh. Blotting break. After we've applied all of our striping tape and we've cut it so we know it's completely stuck on there, then we are going to basically seal it. I don't recommend just using a top coat. You want to use some kind of builder, something a little bit thicker to really just encapsulate all of those striping tapes. I'm going to use one of the, what looks like a gel brush that they provided. I'm not sure how I feel about it, being honest. It's just not strong enough, the bristles, for picking up this kind of gel. It's just too bendy per se. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I don't love this brush to just use for gel. I don't know what other service you would use it for nail art wise, because it's just a basic square tip brush. My only thought is to use it to like actually apply like gel colors or something like that if you have pot gels, but I don't love it. It gets the job done, but I don't love it. Anyways, you apply that, then apply your top coat, and you're done. Moving on to another design. We'll start with my yellow one. I'm gonna draw a little happy face, and I'm just gonna use one of these little art brushes that they have. They're pretty small and thin. Cat hair. So to draw this happy face, I'm going to use one of these like thinner nail art brushes. I like to use these kinds of brushes because they're shorter. If they were longer brush heads, then I would use those more for like stripes and longer stroke type of art. So I'm gonna try these, and while I was doing it, I'm just gonna be honest, I did not like them. I noticed something about these brushes. They had one or two extremely random long hairs in the middle of the brush, and I think the idea for whoever manufactured this or created it was that you would get like thinner details out of this brush, but it was making it really hard for me to like maneuver the brush for any curves, aka like the smile of the happy face. So I did not like these. I ended up having to cut the little hairs off because they were just really inconvenient for myself. They ended up working out better, but when I went to a different nail art where I tried to do graffiti in the word babe, it doesn't look amazing because these are just kind of hard to work with, if I'm being honest. I mean, I feel like I could have done so much better with other brushes that I'm used to, so I did end up trying my normal brushes just to see like, am I just having an off day? Because you know that happens. Sometimes you just have like an off nail art day. But after using my regular tools that I'm used to, like the Wildflowers brush, which is really small, it ended up working better for me. And so I was like, no, I'm not having really an off day. I mean, it didn't come out looking all that fabulous, but it looks a little better than it was in the making with these other brushes. Maybe they're just not great for someone who probably does a lot of nail art. If you're a beginner, maybe they're nice. Yeah, anyways, we'll get into that a little bit later. But as for the brushes, the quality, they're just made of plastic. They're like super bendable, just like a straw. And oh no, my baby's crying. She wants to come inside. But yeah, it's just really cheap quality. They're super bendy, and I don't know, I feel like they'll just snap very easily. Whereas my other ones, I'm used to them being like wood or metal, just something of really higher quality. Even the dotting tools, I was like, you know what, it's a dotting tool. Like, you can't really go wrong with the dotting tool, right? The only thing is it feels very light because it's made of plastic. I like the design in them. They're kind of cool and kind of like, I don't know, they make you like hypnotized if you go like this and just stare at it all day, but you probably don't want to do that. But yeah, you just basically dot. I mean, it's common sense, but the dotting tools that I have personally, like that I've used for years, they're all metal, so they feel actually kind of heavy and like sturdy in my hand, but it's a basic dotting tool. I mean, you can't go wrong with these. They're cheap, but they get the job done, so it is what it is. As for these precious little gems, oh, these little gems, they are just so precious to me. I was like, okay, we're gonna use as many colors as possible, so we're gonna do little flowers. I mean, how cute is that? When I apply stuff like this, it's best to use glue, or if you have a gel that's intended for little gems, use that gel. But whatever you have, just work with it and go from there. I noticed right away these aren't like fancy, you know what I mean? They're cheap, they're not shiny, they're just cheap little crappy jewels. But you know what? For someone who's starting out and maybe doesn't want to spend a lot of money on Swarovski, this is a great option for you. It really is. It's not horrible, okay? I will just say they're very cheap. You know, I'm just not used to the quality like this because I do spend good money on good stones, meaning I spend a lot of money on Swarovskis. But this really is not a big deal for people if you're just wanting a couple stones here and there, maybe a pedicure, that'd be kind of cute. You can just use these. They're really not horrible, but they're not gonna be super shiny and luxurious looking like a Swarovski crystal is going to look on your nail. And last, let's talk about these little cassette, I call them cassette things because they remind me of a cassette thing, but that's not what they are. They hold the striping tape and you could put it in there, clamp it together, and pull the striping tape out. I personally do not like using these. I've bought these in the past thinking they would like organize my striping tape better. They don't. They really don't. And when you pull it, the striping tape sometimes, because it's rubbing against those two pieces of plastic right there, it just breaks and then you're wasting striping tape. So these aren't my favorite things in the world. They're cool to like keep it organized, but I wouldn't actually pull the striping tape out from the actual component itself. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the final review of this nail art kit, is that, you know, it is cheaper quality. I mean, you're only spending $12 for all of this. So in a way it is a really good deal because you're getting so much for so cheap, but you're not getting very, very good stuff. So is it worth it? I think personally for a beginner or someone who's just at home doing their nails, I think it's a great starter kit for someone who's at home just starting to get into nail art, maybe wants a couple stones here and there or try some new things. This is probably a really great kit for you. But someone who's a professional and might have a little more knowledge of what they're doing, this probably isn't a great kit for you. I do highly appreciate and recommend buying nice brushes and better stones because you really do get such better quality and better art out of it when you use better quality stuff. And yeah, they are more expensive. Like sometimes you can spend like $24 on one brush, on one little nail art brush. But you know what? The turnaround from you using that brush all the time, and it's gonna last you longer and it's gonna feel better in your hand, it's worth it to me as a professional. It's really up to your discretion, but for someone who's a beginner at home, I really don't see anything wrong with this. You might have to cut a hair or two off of all the brushes because I don't see the point in having those. It's really random and really weird, but everything else pretty much serves its purpose. It does its job, works pretty well to me. And we got a really colorful pastel-y, it's almost springtime manicure. We're going into summertime, so we're gonna have to use some fun colors next week for my next manicure. Stay tuned for that. But anyways, today's video shout out goes to Brandy. So shout out to you, Brandy. Thank you so much for watching wherever you are. And if you like this video, you already know the drill. Make sure you give it a big thumbs up and also make sure you're subscribed and click that notification bell. That way you never miss when I upload a brand new video. That's it for this week's video, guys. So I will see you all next week for next week's video. Stay tuned. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to talk chemicals and gel polish because I think you guys at home need to know what's going on your hands when you're putting polish on your hands. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, I will see you guys all next week. So long and farewell, my babe. Bye.